Hi, Kyle. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me, Shane?
I can. How are you?
Good, man. Good.
Hi. Welcome to the first episode of the Plantr Walk and Talk series.
Awesome.
Congratulations. Really swooped in there. What this is, it's pretty easygoing conversation. We're just gonna take a walk around your permaculture or homestead setup. I'm gonna ask questions. What are you growing? What are you not growing for like certain reasons? And other successes or failures throughout the gardening process that you may or may not have had. So do you
Cool.
want to, yeah. So do you want to take us to your beginning spot where you might start your walk through your garden?
Yes. Let me. I'm gonna flip the camera around.
Please do.
Um, I guess. Actually, I'm sitting. I'd like to begin just where I'm sitting. It makes the most
Please.
sense. Uh, Energy wise. I'm sitting under an avocado tree. This is a really old avocado tree. A little over 60 years at least.
Wow.
Uh, and it produces some of the best avocados. It's not a commercial variety. On island here, it's a favorite and one of a kind. Actually, there's a lot of hybridized avocados here in Hawaii. And where I'm sat at is in 1,600 feet elevation, Molokai, Hawaii.
Okay.
And avocados do really well up here.
I
And
I can imagine.
under this tree is the kind of the potting area. You can see looking out is the nursery. I do a lot of grafting, and if I got seeds of atamoya or ulu is breadfruit in Hawaiian, then I plant them. And like for citrus, mango, and avocado, I graft them. There seems to be a high demand for that, and the more people we get in planting uh, fruit trees, the better. So uh, that was the premise for the nursery. A lot of grafted here, a lot of grafted there, mostly rootstock there.
Okay.
Avocado, a lot in permaculture we talk about gilding, and it's just efficient use of space. There are also all these interactions happening, of course. So on this avocado, because it's frequently visited, we got a couple vines going up. We have this is dragon fruit, a
Okay.
yellow flesh fruit, I believe, on this one, and we have this vine right here is chayote, and it's reached the canopy of the tree up there. So I harvest them like I harvest the avocados with a fruit picker. Under we have just a little assembly of greens. There's some turmeric in Hawaii. It's called olena. So we have that. We got longevity spinach. We got the mizuna. We got some cabbage that's getting hit by cabbage worms, which is fine because without the pests, we won't have the predator. And that lets me know stuff about the soil.
Hmm.
Um, Other gilding we got going on here, a little bed. We got some taro in here, different kinds. We got so many kinds of taro in Hawaii. You got a cacao that's right there. We have Thai ginger. Comfrey is in here, and it comes up just if I just dug some up yesterday, um, and I mean it's everywhere. I started out with one plant in a pot about this size and just kept splitting it. And now, you can see it's under the avocado right there. As we walk around the garden, I'll point it out. We also have celery in here, more shade tolerant leafy. We want leafy greens. The taro is a root, of course, but we use the leaf, and it just takes a little bit longer for the corm to develop fully, but it does. And we have this is a Thai papaya. It's becoming very large and
Right.
taking it.
It looks beautiful. How old is
Yeah,
that particular tree?
this papaya is, let's see, 7 months, 8 months.
That's a 7-month-old papaya tree with that
Yes,
size of papayas. Pretty,
yes.
that's pretty remarkable, uh,
It's
considering
it's
where
getting
I
better.
am at.
Again, here's Comfrey. There's the potting station. I have had help recently with, I've had building projects and gardens to keep up. Nursery kind of started slacking, so I've had some recent volunteer help, which has been really great. So here's the garden / nursery. I will for language purposes in permaculture, I'll call this the market garden.
Okay.
Next, we have almost a touching canopy of mulberry into the avocado, which creates a really nice dappled sunlit area for starts. Here we have chard, but mostly it's trees in here. And it's on irrigation. Everything's on a timer. Twice a day for 5 minutes on drippers that drip 0.5 gallons per hour.
Wow,
So
that you got it down to the drop there.
Yeah, I can pretty much calculate how many gallons of water are coming out of the pipes per day. We're doing double reach beds here, so we got 2 foot row, 4 foot bed. Yeah, 2 foot, 4 foot. So there's 1 bed, 2 bed, 3, 4, 5. We got 1 here at the end, because what I do is the leaves that fall from the mulberry or avocado or whatever, I sweep it down into the walkway. And as we know in permaculture, we want some functionality going. So it's a walkway, and as we step on it, it speeds up the compost action, and that'll feed stuff in the beds, that are, if their roots reach it, or it'll feed the tree, it'll feed something. This bed I just replanted with lettuce and cilantro. It has a pigeon pea growing in the middle. This is a red flower pigeon pea. They grow a little bit smaller than the normal pigeon pea. Also cassava. I plant cassava here and there. It's a wonderful plant. It deserves a lot of recognition because of its ease of growth and its drought tolerance and its root production. As far as a staple crop, it does really well. We turn it to flour, and that saves the root, because once you harvest cassava, you got about 48 hours to do something with it. And drying it seems to be the best way to preserve it. Walking along here.
And just so people who haven't tried it can know, how is a cassava flour in comparison to regular wheat flour?
Cassava flour, what I found is, let's walk and just talk about it under a cassava. It acts the most like normal flour as far as gluten-free goes. Not to
Really?
say I'm gluten-free, but if you're looking for a substitute, it's a really great one. I mean, you can make pancakes with just cassava flour, but still, I mean, you're not gonna necessarily make a loaf of bread and it be what you expect.
Yeah.
If you know it.
Yeah, I can get that. So it's probably the best case scenario for people who are, gluten intolerant, to replace it with a cassava root.
Yes, cassava. Well, you want to mix flours with that.
Okay.
Because of its amount of starch. It's really high in starch. So it's one of those roots that can spike your blood sugar. Okay. Unlike taro, which is right next to it. Let's see if we can see it. It's becoming mature. This is a smaller type. It went through a little drought stress. We had a pretty long drought, at least 6 months drought. But it'll be fine. Taro is one you have to really cook well because of the oxalic acid content, and that can bind in your liver and kidneys and turn into calcium oxalate crystals. And that's not good.
That. Yeah, no one wants that.
Another flour and also a good starch to use is breadfruit, or here in Hawaii it's called ulu. In the greens phase, it is like potato, but it has its way higher nutrition, more complex starches, so it breaks down slower in the body over time. So you eat ulu, it's going to last you way longer than, say, eating a normal potato or anything like that. Same with cassava. It's better, at least a little better than the white potato. It has 3 times the nutrition. So, growing your own stuff, you're definitely benefiting, even if it is, say, high in starch or whatever. You're definitely going to, be a lot healthier. And that's what we're looking for. That's a byproduct of the abundance, right?
Absolutely. And just as someone who's never tasted a breadfruit, what is its taste and consistency like?
The consistency is very similar to potato. It
Interesting.
has a unique flavor a little bit, and I can't really describe it in words. I can't.
It's just so unique. It's just the breadfruit.
Yeah. If you like potato, you're bound to like ulu.
Okay, Ulu it is.
Yeah. So, and this tree, it was actually growing next to, this is what's called in Hawaii a kane lemon. The lemon was, let's see if I can see my camera. The lemon was over this papaya, and it had dropped lemons for years. Really acidifying the soil will turn yellow and stuff. And I pruned this, started putting tropical ag.
Kyle, I seem to be
Soil,
losing
which is a
you.
safe thing to buy something alkali. Oh, sorry. Let's see. Yeah, now.
It's okay. I think you might have been getting away from your Wi-Fi signal there.
Okay. But yeah, so that lemon was dropping lemons for a time out and acidifying the soil down here. And once after putting 2 or 3 doses of lime on the soil around the drip line, this guy really greened up, and it's hopefully going to fruit this coming season. So I'm excited about it.
And what is that name? The Hawaiian name of it again?
The Hawaiian name is Ulu. ULU.
Okay. I'm sorry. I with the bandwidth cutting out, I thought you were talking about the like special Hawaiian lemon tree.
Oh no, that one's called a kane lemon.
Kane lemon. Okay.
Yeah, very juicy lemon. Very,
Interesting.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Let's see. We got crops going. A lot of experiments. In permaculture, we're always experimenting. So right now, I'm experimenting with what is this? This is Copenhagen market cabbage. So it's a European cabbage. Nice tight heads. Hopefully, I've never been able to grow cabbage too well here because of the heat. Even in the winter, which we call just the wet season, which we're just getting into. It rained last night. I've never gotten the tight heads, but these are looking very promising. So I'm really excited about it.
Well, good luck to you. As far as successes and difficulties go, is cabbage and leafy greens what's giving you the most issue?
The most issue, I would say, is brassicas. Yeah, because
Okay.
we have certain beetles. I mean, we're in the tropics. We don't get the reduced pest cycles that come with the winter freeze or anything. So pest cycles keep going and going. And what I've noticed is, I've been working this land for a couple years. I put in compost that my ducks and chickens make mixed with biochar. I actually give the biochar, I crush it and give it to the chickens and ducks. They process it for me. And then I sift it out in every planting hole, 2 handfuls. So actually before that happened, brassicas, they just wouldn't go. Cutworms, cabbage worms, and these certain types of beetles that I'm not sure of the name would really decimate the crops. The only brassica that would do really well was daikon radish, which is, it's a great crop to grow. It's very easy.
Yeah,
very
it's interesting. That's the one that would pull through.
Yeah, I know. And I've moved a lot away from direct sowing. There's only a few things I direct sow. I just find that once you start them in pots, there's a little extra work in it, but it makes them a lot stronger. As far as our annual crops go, like lettuce, most brassicas, except for radishes, And everything else, I start, let's see, direct sowing turnips and carrots and daikon. That's it. Everything else, and okra. Okra, I'll just pop in the ground. Because they're vigorous seeds, bigger seeds. Beans again, like green beans or cowpeas, which I use as a cover crop. I direct sow them. But yeah, everything else, it goes through the whole process of potting up. Um, but these cowpeas, I've actually been experimenting with them. Right now, they're getting the powdery mildew because we got the wet season coming in, our increased humidity. But they're a cover crop, and luckily, if I wait long enough, I'll get a lot of dry beans from them. They're actually cowpeas or black-eyed peas.
Okay.
This is actually the next bed that in the next few days is going to be remade, and that just requires the end here. I have two irrigation lines going through the beds, and the drippers are spaced 1 foot apart. And at the ends, let's see if I can dig down here and get it on film. At the ends, let's see. Here's the end. Right here. Here's the end. So each bed has an end, two ends rather. And what I do is I just lift them up and I roll them back to the other end of the bed where the main pipe comes down. So that opens up the whole bed, that I can work with the hand cultivator or whatever, sharp shovel. I can chop all the cowpea up, and I can leave any perennials that need to happen. Other than that, everything gets worked, and biochar compost goes in the soil, and it gets worked again. And then when I plant, another couple handfuls in each planting hole. So really getting the carbon that's conditioned. It has to be conditioned as far as the biochar goes. Really getting that conditioned and worked in, because again, we're in the tropics, up on a mountain, so the soil is heavily leached, and the biochar grabs it and holds it. So it's been that's a game changer, biochar. I
Oh, yeah.
actually just A friend just gave me a mango because they've been using biochar on their farm for a couple years now, and this mango is over 4 pounds, and I've never seen a mango that big. Um,
Me either. That's
it's just
incredible.
yeah, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. You know, that's
Yeah.
the whole.
And about how much would you say using the biochar in your garden increased its productivity?
How much? Oh, it's man, that's a good question. It's almost immeasurable. It's like, whoa, you see the difference, not necessarily immediately, but through one season. I mean, it's just amazing. At least double the production, at
I was
least.
gonna say, would you say it's at least double or more? But
Yeah,
you
for
brought it out for me. But yeah, it looks amazing.
well, to give you an example of what this garden, quote unquote, used to be. Let's see, where are we looking at? We're looking as you look out. Imagine none of that. This was covered in black plastic, and tires were used for gardening.
Really?
Um, Once the owner couldn't do that anymore, um, it was just left as black plastic. And what that did, my hypothesis is that the black plastic through seasons, I mean years, heated up. And when I uncovered it, the soil was like cracked, like imagine a desert that
Yeah.
where there's clay and it's cracked, there's these fissures in the ground, because of lack of water, lack of nutrients. And of course, that solarization basically killed the life in the soil, the microorganisms. And starting out, man, it was really hard. It was really difficult to grow stuff because, one, we needed some air in the soil, we needed it loose. And then we needed things to keep it loose. That's the microorganisms. And the biochar houses all those, and compost. I mean, I can't stress compost enough. It's great. I'm not really a big fan of creating a big pile and turning it every day, but that's why I give that job to the chickens, because they don't realize they're working for free. They're just doing what they want to do. and the same for the ducks. The ducks parasites and things, and they'll poop out great stuff, and duck poop really doesn't even smell. Chicken poop comes out really hot, really high in nitrogen, and that's where the smell comes from. But I also treat their coop with lactobacillus that I make,
Okay.
and you start out with rice wash water, and you inoculate preferably raw milk with your rice wash water that's sat for 3 days and kind of smells sour. And then I stabilize it with sugar, super saturate it with sugar so the microbes go to sleep. So once you dilute it, it's 1,000 to 1. Once you
Uh-huh.
dilute it and spray it, those microbes come alive, and they double population every 38 minutes. So we're talking super exponential growth here. It's the thing, you got to stop up. You can go 500 to 1, whatever with that, but pour it down the sink, and it'll eat the clogs away, because usually the clogs are bacterial gels that have kind of accumulated and stop the drains up. So lactobacillus, I mean, it's, I take a spoonful of it, every 4 or 5 days, just for the gut health, because the lactobacillus was made from this environment, so as I incorporate it into my gut, it's kind of melting into the landscape in a sense, as far as the gut biome, because it all ties together, and it's so important. Another byproduct of the abundance is healthy guts.
Of course. That's interesting. It's such a multi-use sort of tool.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great.
Interesting. Sorry, I'm just doing my own little side research into the lactobacillus. What would you say I think I can guess, but your personal favorite plant of your garden, if you have any?
Well, I could break that down into perennial and annual, and that's really a tough question, but I would definitely say avocado is perennial. And annual, favorite. That's tough. Probably be cowpea, actually, because of its multi-use,
Okay.
nitrogen fixed ground cover. You get dry beans out of it. You get good protein content from it. I mean, and it's so easy to grow. That's, if I had to choose, if twisting my arm, yeah, that's what I would choose.
Okay, I like that choice. And what would you say your bane of your garden would be? What is giving you the most headache or
Giving me the most headache. Certain brassicas.
okay.
Main. Well, right now, the bane, quote unquote, of the garden, I would say, is Chinese cabbage, because I got the wrong type. I got it's more of a mild type that, you know, can't. It wants to bolt in the heat, and we're in the tropics again. We get
Yeah.
sun. And we get too much sun. That's the thing, right? The Chinese cabbage, I didn't read the description. I've saved a lot of seeds through the years, but Chinese cabbage hasn't been one of them. And so another experiment, always, yeah. So some are doing well that are in more shade, but ones that are in the sun more times of the day, they're bolting. So they go to the ducks and chickens, and it gets transformed into an egg magically.
Oh yeah. Somehow magically gets turned into breakfast.
Yeah, it just happens that way,
Yeah,
I don't question.
it's pretty awesome process. So what would you like to do? What would be your ultimate goal for your garden? Which by the way, while I'm on it, does your garden slash farm itself have a name? I didn't ask in the beginning.
Well, I wouldn't say previous owners, they're here on property. Um, uh, Green Goddess is what it's been known for since 2000. So that's what it is on our local food hub, is Green Goddess.
I love it. That's
Uh,
a great name.
yeah, it works. But as far as what I see for the property, I would love it to be a demonstration site because this is only a half an acre.
Mhm.
And what I've showed you guys so far, this is the back plot, and that isn't even the quarter. It's not even half of the half acre, right? So what the camera's panning over now is just the other side of the garden. So, we were down there at the breadfruit tree. That's about the boundary. And then up here at the citrus and that papaya and this big avocado, that's the other side of the boundary. That's a little over 50 feet. Running the other way, it's almost 250 feet. And there's a garden in the front. It's one that just went from grass, lawn culture to food. We can walk around there. There's animals, mainly birds, cats, of course, because we have this big tree is a macadamia nut. So of
Oh,
course we get
wow.
rats. It's
That's
the highest. It has the highest oil content of any nut, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to throw out bad info, but it's super rich.
if it
Um,
is, I'll put a confirmation on the video for us. I'll do some
sure.
research into it.
Um, and one thing I'd like to go over as far as small properties, part of say a demonstration site is trees. Trees. We want
Mhm.
more trees. We also want annuals, and we also want space to walk around and have gatherings and whatnot. So really important, really cool. Um, it's really important, I believe, to learn how to graft. It sounds daunting to a lot of people, but it's not really. Here's an example of a citrus, and it has three different kinds of citrus on it. So you can see these are bud grafts. This is a tangerine, really great tangerine. This is a type of kumquat, really sweet one, not too many seeds. And this is a seedless tangelo.
Okay.
Really important. I'm just knocking
And,
off the.
and so what did that tree start off as?
It was a grapefruit actually that
It
was
was,
previously, but it never produced.
so it was a
So
grapefruit that is now a Frankenstein of kumquat, tangelo, and tangerine. And has it
yes,
been? Uh, those look fairly established. Has it produced well since it's? Uh,
well, uh, they're pretty new grafts actually, so
oh,
they're
okay.
not fruiting. Maybe a year and a half, even that soon. Um, so at least multiple types. Citrus take that very well. This was just a I don't know what kind of fruit it was, some kind of orange with really long spikes. That's not a cool characteristic. It is for the tree, I guess. It's
Yeah,
kind of
it's great defense. It's not great for hanging around in the garden.
right, but grafted onto this from. Let's see, is that on camera?
Yeah,
Sunlight's kind of ruining my eyes here as far
I
as
I
looking at.
do see a color change on that stick there.
Right.
That's where you grafted.
Yes, right here is where the graft took. So all of this above it is it's a type of navel orange. Um, Here it's called a ka'u orange. Um, Really big orange. They're great. They kind of remain halfway green, but they kind of trick you. They're ripe.
Oh, interesting.
And then around this tree, just an assembly of this is actually the Hatch green chili. I can't technically call it Hatch green chili here because we're not in Hatch, New Mexico, but um, it's just an experiment to see how they do, and right now they're doing really well.
So
So
it's a chili plant from Hatch, or
yeah,
the seeds are.
yeah, they have yearly festivals over for this plant. Yeah.
I had a question about how many trees do you have on this? You said quarter acre or half acre?
Half acre.
Half acre.
How many trees? I mean, we could do a walkthrough and count. I don't have the number in my head. Probably be good to know, actually.
It, I won't make it count, but uh,
Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's small trees within the market garden, actually. 6, 7, 8. Let's see, 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. We're looking at a little over 30.
A little over 30 trees on half
Yep.
an acre, plus all the other plants you're growing. And
Yeah.
about how much poundage in food do you obtain from this half acre?
Whew, that's a good one. That's good to think about. Well, to give you an example, one avocado can produce, I would say, this year wasn't the best year for this tree, but it probably produced maybe 400 pounds. On a good year, it's going to be up to about 1,000, I would say. This skinny tree it's taken a year off, which is fine. It's got permission to do that. But this tree is really amazing. It's just bending over when it's fruiting. And I would say, as far as its size, it's going to produce probably about 500 pounds. It's a rather young avocado. The Mac nut, this is Mac nut season. I mean, oh, sorry, cat. We're picking up, I don't know, 4 gallons a day sometimes. So, I mean, imagine 4 gallons of Mac nuts green. We pick them up green like this.
Mm-hmm.
4 gallons of that. I mean, that's probably more than water per gallon. Water is 8 pounds, so 8 times 4 is 32 nuts. Now, that doesn't mean 32 pounds of Mac nuts that are already cracked and dried, all that good stuff. Because you get the husk and you get the shell, right?
Yes. Yep.
So that makes a difference. But golly, and then the annuals, one cabbage can weigh 2 to 3 pounds. Beans, I mean, I rotate them out. One bed can give, I would say, 7 or 8 pounds of beans, dried. Tomatoes, this is an experimental tomato, so I ain't got a number on that. Papaya, we get papaya all year. Each papaya weighs at least 1 pound. Cassava can yield roots. I haven't had it up here yet. We get about 20, 25 pounds per plant. I got some friends farming cassava down more on the flatlands in between the mountains. And they're getting close to 40 pounds. This is actually, I'm excited about this one. This is a really big cassava. It's going to produce pretty well. And they're really pretty.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. So just to get in like a layman's terms, you're getting close to tens of thousands of pounds of food throughout the year in just this tiny little half-acre garden.
I don't know if I'd say tens of thousands. I would say probably, I would say on a average year, 2,500. Maybe, and that would take some more precise calculations. But like I say, for example, this avocado, and let me walk around to this other one, because the one I just showed was an offspring of this one here, which is a Beardsley, which is usually already flowering by now. This one's taken a year off. It's one of the oldest trees on the property. This tree, man, it just produces, and it holds on to the fruit until you pick it, which is why I think it didn't fruit this year, because I was sandbagging avocados. I didn't pick them fast enough.
Interesting. So is that just like that species of avocado tree that does that, or is it just this particular tree itself that is very good at holding on?
It would be the cultivar of this avocado, a characteristic that retains through grafting. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And we got some associates. This is a flowering orchid that actually is fragrant. It's very awesome. Very beautiful smell. And it's just spidered up its epiphytic roots. Yeah. All the way.
Oh, wow.
Crazy. And I don't do anything. I just stuck it on there, and I think I just wrapped grafting tape around it or something to hold it, and now it's latched on.
And just let it go, and it's
It's
thriving.
not
That's
food, but
amazing.
it's pretty. Yeah, it's not food, but pretty little plant. Good
Hey,
smell.
everything growing in the garden is it's food for something.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and this actually, I don't know if you want to have a little talk on it. It's a compost toilet shower. I haven't completed the shower, but it's made out of pallet wood that I sanded, because here we can get pallets for free.
Yeah.
So the neighbor has a pallet puller aparter, however you want to call it. So it makes it a lot easier. So, that's, I don't know how many pallets, maybe 15
Wow,
that are.
that's pretty innovative. I like it. I wish I had the pallet puller when I was trying to make some uh, pallet planters.
Ah, right.
I just had a tiny crowbar, and it was the middle of the summer.
Oh, man, that's a lot of bending. That's
Yeah.
no good. But the design follows Jeff Lawton's video. He's got like a 4 or 5 minute video on using a wheelie bin. Although I'm not using a wheelie bin, I'm using a tote. Let's see, take that. We'll just look at it real quick.
And show us what you want.
It's this is one of those rugged totes. Yeah, it's got its own. It's got its own lid built in. I made a top for it, so it seals that part. That's part of the vent. This is just a 5-gallon bucket I cut the bottom out of as the chute that goes down. I may install like some kind of computer fan in the vent, but it's not really necessary on hot days. It goes up here. We see it again, and I painted that part black, and it snakes around and goes up. It curls at the top just so rainwater doesn't get in. And this Avo needs a little pruning back. That's fine. That can happen. But basically in there, I mean, it's a work in progress. It's still got stuff. There's a little sink you can see. And then the ground is red cinder, which we get here because we're a volcanic island. There's actually a core that mines it. The basis for mining and the core. But yet again, it's a locally sourced product, so it's always a trade-off as far as what we can use, what's available, and should we use it.
Yeah. Do you find any other uses for red cinder? I'm from Southern Oregon, and we actually have quite a bit of it.
I would probably like to experiment with red cinder as a building material. I don't know if you've heard of aircrete or some kind of material that you can mix in, mortar and stuff like that, stick it together and make walls, and maybe push some rebar through it or something like that.
Yeah.
I guess, it's pretty, sky's the limit as far as that goes, building with natural materials.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. But here we don't have clay content. It's too of a landscape to have formed clay. So we don't have that as a building material, which is why in ancient Hawaii, they built their hale or their house with pili grass, which is a native grass that isn't found much anymore. Certain areas, yeah, but not like it used to be.
Right.
There's a lot of quote unquote invasive species. Again, that being a concept and a whole discussion, actually. But nature doesn't discriminate, so something's going on. So it's doing some kind of job.
Right. And what species of chickens and ducks does Green Goddess have?
These chickens are black star sex link. So sex link just means they can tell male and female without actually sexing them. The males, I believe, have a white patch on their head. Females don't. So these are guaranteed. I only have 4 of them. Half acre. And there's 8 little ducklings. Not sure which ones are going to be drakes and which ones are going to be ducks, but I'm going for just ducks. Hopefully at least 4 of them are ducks. So that'll be actually the garden army that I lead into each bed as it needs redone. Leave them in there for a day, give them water, of course, and let them work it. See, the chickens, they'll till. The ducks, they don't scratch like chickens, but they eat the dirt, and they burrow in it with their bills and stuff like that. And usually what the chickens won't eat, the ducks will eat, and vice versa. So it's a happy companionship going on there.
Yeah, they look very happy themselves. I like the sexual dichotomy of those chickens. That's a pretty cool. I'm not sure if that was bred in or they just kind of discovered it.
Yeah, I have no idea on that history. Uh, but of course, I mean, we get a lot of jungle fowl around here. The gallus is the scientific name. Red jungle fowl is a common name, and they act very different from domesticated chickens. They're wild, you know. They can fly, no problem.
Oh,
They
they can
go
like
up in
actually
trees.
fly, or they can sort of propel themselves.
No, they can take off from flat ground, not
Really?
even running, fly straight up if they want to. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Well, one thing bred into domestic chickens were, the ability for meat birds. So they're a lot heavier, or
Right.
for laying ability, which usually gives them bigger haunches. And, and through all that, there's a lot of docile traits that came into play too, that of course we like, because we don't want to go into the chicken coop and have everyone panic when we go in, or if one gets out not knowing we're going to get it back in, or there's a certain level of trust that we can ensure with these domestic breeds, and there's a lot of predictability, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Same with these ducks too. These are Muscovies. They're pretty easy going little guys. They're not real anxious at all. They're pretty laid back. They really, they take it easy.
And,
No,
everyone knows a laid back bird leads to better eggs.
oh yeah, healthier eggs. The yolk stands. Pick them up with chopsticks sometimes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, firm eggs. Our friends Robin and Dano, who they live on Molokai, Wailua Perma Farm. Shout out Robin and Dano. They're actually incorporated in a certain section of Bill Mollison's designer's manual.
Oh wow.
They've been doing this stuff for way longer than I've been alive. They're experts. They got a lot of ducks. They're doing awesome things out there. I don't know. I could talk to him. We could do a tour out there. That'd be great, because Dano is a natural born teacher. He's awesome. Both Robin and Dano. I've learned so much from them guys, and continue to when I see them. I see them less now because of all this whatever. So
I think everyone's seeing their favorite people less these days.
yeah, yeah, that's true. That's a fact.
But yeah, hey, if you want to get them their own episode, I'd love to talk to them too.
Yeah, I'll give Dano a call and see if they'd like that to happen. They stay busy, but I'm sure any chance for a permaculture talk video would be great. See, these guys, these are the older ducks. They're khaki Campbells, and notice how they're kind of freaking out. They got some anxiety going on, even though they know beat them.
I can't see them, but I can hear their calls. The video's
Yeah,
bandwidth was getting a little low again.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh, no problem. I
can't
fully expected this.
Yeah. So I just was walking. I'm around at the front of this is the main house, and it's I guess if I had to zone it out, it's like a zone 3, because I pay less attention up here because that's not the part of the property I stay on. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, there's a dwarf banana. This is a gray water system. We got the canna. Over there in the corner, we got a Hawaiian banana called huamoa. It's more of a plantain or cooking banana. Forms huge bananas, short, fat bananas that use them just like potatoes, but they taste so much better. Up here we got some. What is that? This is some kind of South African squash. There's some cowpea in there, more cowpea, comfrey, sweet potato. I'm getting into more perennials here, except for this garden. This was an experimental three sisters, quote unquote, garden. We got 3 different types of corn. Obviously, this middle corn is the one I'm going to save seeds from. These just kind of pittered out. But our bean that we're using is cowpea again. In these 2 beds, we have watermelon. And in these 2 beds, we have the kabocha, winter squash. And I believe that this corn is a pencil cob corn. We got papaya in here because we want shade for the garden in the future. It's really important. Too much sun. The plants, C3 plants, will shut down their photosynthesis, and just to prevent water loss. So they're not actively growing and producing food at that stage. But got a little herb garden here. Got the English plantain, which here is called laukahi. A random daikon, celery, za'atar oregano, green onions, rosemary, more celery, random volunteer papaya trees, fruit that just wanted to grow. So, of course, we let it.
Yeah, wow. Again, the papaya is just killing it out there.
Yeah, they there used to be jungle fowl that ran around really everywhere. Without that, they don't eat the papaya seeds that just fall, and we get papaya coming up everywhere. Here to my left is a dwarf papaya. It's probably going to max out at this high, which is just above my knee, and it produces massive double football size papayas.
So, such an interesting size plant to be producing that size fruit.
Right. And this is a middle garden, I call it. It's kind of a random assemblage of random things. And maybe in the future, this will be the nursery. And then the garden will extend where actually the nursery is. But we'll see. Time will tell. Who knows?
Just sort of a miscellaneous area.
Yeah. These large trees, these are lychee. There was one in the front pruned very, very low. These guys are really old. There's 2 of them. They used to canopy over this whole area where the chickens and ducks are. This used to be very shady and kind of damp. But now it's a good spot to grow some squash. This is a kabocha squash. Well, a couple of them. Good size. That's good eating right there.
Yeah, that's great.
Pigeon pea, cassava. Again, volunteer papaya. It's great. Stuff back here. There's another cassava. This is a long squasher called Oppo. That's very short for it. It's very young, but man, it's super good. And it's kind of running. Yeah, we just let it go.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But the lychee's a great fruit. It's more of a delicacy fruit, I would say. These trees are really old, and in a sense, I'd like to replant with like an avocado. I'm really in love with avocados, but an ode to the tree, because it's been here longer than me, so it gets to stay. It'll just stay short.
Yeah, I think most people these days are pretty obsessed with avocado. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah, I have actually. It's pretty crazy. It's crazy good, but also, there's kind of like, I don't know, cartel gets involved in that, and they're making more money with avocados than drugs. Kind of weird.
I need to do a little bit of research into that, but that's piquing my interest.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to go over, my phone.
Please.
I'm on my phone. It's video call eats the battery. I'm at 11%. But one thing I like to go over that I often get questions about is, well, how do you fertilize? How do you fertilize all this stuff? How does that happen? And this is it right here. I found this in the valley that's way over in front of the house from a dairy that used to be there. So what this is, I don't have to open it, but I'll describe it. It's weeds. I put meat in there. We have an overabundance of the axis deer here, so it's open season all year,
Yeah.
and so we get plenty deer, which is great. So the deer scraps, bones and stuff, I put it in there, and I inoculated again with the lactobacillus. I put biochar in there, comfrey leaves, just kind of whatever, and let it kind of ferment all together. And then that bottom spout, I'll turn it on and put a sieve over it, filter it, and then I'll put it into my fertilizer injector, and it'll distribute it. And I only do that through a garden hose, the fertilizer injector, because I don't want this stuff sitting in the irrigation pipes because it'll algae up and it'll stop up my drippers, and there's a whole cascade of events that aren't too desirable.
Yeah, so that's axis deer remnants, leftovers of various plants, and biochar,
weeds from the garden, comfrey, a lot of comfrey in there because of the minerals. I don't know, chickens that I've culled out and put in the freezer. All the stuff goes in there, no waste, as far as that goes. We'll just down to its nutrients and make it available, and then mix it in with aerobic microbes and throw it out in the garden and see what happens.
Wow, that's interesting. And did you look up that method somewhere, or did you just kind of like, hey, I'm going to do this and see if it works? Just another experiment.
Well, before getting into permaculture, I was into Korean natural farming and jadam. I grew up in the woods, way backwoods, Georgia. So I've always kind of had that, what should I say? I've always been in the woods, and I've always appreciated nature for the lessons it teaches, whether I know it's teaching me or not. So I was into Korean natural farming for a while, still am to a certain degree. It's more alchemy stuff, and it's really effective actually, but it takes more time than I have right now. So the son of who invented not invented, but I guess discovered, whatever, Korean natural farming, the son came up with a different natural farming technique, and that's called jadam. There's books out, jadam organic farming, jadam natural farming, and that's more closely related to that, but it's also a blend because I put in the lactobacillus that is derived from granite, molasses, whatever, to really get things kick started and let it sit. I begin using it that level gets slow, I fill it back up. But if you're just starting out, maybe start out in 5-gallon buckets, because this stuff goes a long way. My fertilizer injector dilutes at 20-1, and that's probably the minimum you want to dilute it. You got to kind of get things used to it, but I'd say 50-1 is what you want to start out with. So you get a bucket of weeds, whatever, grass clippings, comfrey, papaya leaves, I don't know, whatever. Put in a bucket, put some leaf mold in it. Leaf mold is that stuff just under the leaves around a tree where there's the active microbe population. Real quick before my phone dies, I'm at 3%. You just let that sit for a week or so, and then you can use it 50-1, and you'll see a big jump in your plant's growth. They'll green up.
Okay, wow. So it's pretty strong if it needs a 50-1 ratio.
Very strong smell too.
Okay, noted.
And Shane, if we want to continue this too, we can do this tomorrow or whatever. I just need to charge my phone.
Okay. I think I have what I need for this episode. I think this is like a perfect length. I And I'm just gonna leave with one more question. If you could do this kind of permaculture work for anyone in the world, family, friend, celebrity, whoever, who would you do it for?
Elon Musk, so he can fund it and then use that money to change the world in a permaculture way.
Oh, that's my second favorite choice.
Who else? Bill Gates?
No, I was gonna say Joe Rogan. I just love his comedy.
Cool. Yeah. Joe
Well, yeah,
Rogan.
I love that answer, and it's been great talking to you, Kyle. I hope you get back with me soon. I'll let you know when we post this video, and just go charge your phone and stay
Cool.
safe out there.
All right. Bye, everyone. Aloha.
Bye.